So thank you for your presentation. I have a question for you relating the valuation. Can you share with us how do you select the peers to compare for the FPT valuation? On what criteria? Because I saw on your slide some very unfamiliar names. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The first one, in FPT Technologies, we pick the small mid-cap company with the engine, the Japanese and the Indian competitors. The criteria that we pick for the peer selection, that's first one, we compare that the business model that diversify the market in the global world. The second one, that we compare the sale and the market cap for the company and the financial performance in the 5 years of the companies. So that's why that we come up with the 5 competitors.
Thank you for your energetic presentation. Much more energetic than my voice. While you are deriving the cost of equity using the CAPM method, you have used the 10-year Vietnamese government bond. Other people have not used the 10-year. So how do you just, should it be a short-term government bill, or should it be a 10-year bond? That's question number 1. Please go ahead.
So we say at the conservatives point that we use the 10-year Vietnam straight bond in VNDs. So that's why that we come up with the cost of equity with 14.3%. If we use the Vietnam government bond in 5 years, that means the cost of equity will be decreasing. So that's we believe that the cost of equity with a certain level that's protect the investor from the volatility of the markets. So why do we protect that?
And I see adjusted beta. What did you adjust beta for?
So
We want to adjust the beta to better reflect the cost of equity from FPT, including the volatility of the market.
And my last question, who are the shareholders of FTP, by the way?
We're not sure about this question, so we would be more than willing to learn more about this.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you for your question.
You project a very low net debt issue for FPT. Any reason for that, and why the company should do more leverage in order to maintain the growth that you project in your model?
In theory, company issue debt to finance its capital expenditures. However, we observe that FPT have sustainable cash flow from operations to finance its future capital expenditures. So we would like to decrease the net debt issue to better reflect the financial position of FPT in the next 5 years. And to clarify a little bit, our cash flow from operations will be growing at a 5-year CAGR of 16%, which is really impressive. So we strongly believe that the company has sufficient capability to finance its capital expenditures instead of depending on debt.
Hi, I think that for the questions on the shareholder, you actually have it in your appendix. So in fact, you could refer to it. My question to you is that your target price for FPT is 70,000 something, and you seem very highly convicted in the stock. Your target PE for the stock would translate to an implied PE of about 16 or 15 times, while the historical average of FPT is only 13 times. It has been very stable. What do you think would re-rate the company from a historical average of 13 times to 16 times to reach your valuation? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. In our observation, we project for the EBITDA in the last 5 years, the next income of EBITDA will grow as the 26%, where the competitor in the peer selection would not grow as the 13 and to 17% in the last 5 years. That's why we think the EBITDA deserve for the better PEs around 17 times up. And furthermore, we also compare to the performance in industry with the horse markets. So we apply for the 50 to 20 discount for the EBITDA implying PEs. So that's why we choose for the 17 times.
Why did you exclude the education in your multiple valuation?
This is due to the small contribution of education to FPT total revenue, and also we want to use PE multiple model to better reflect the price of FPT in the market as a technology and telecommunication company, which is its core business activities, instead of education. Education, despite its contribution to FPT total net revenue of 15%, is trusted add-in of FPT performance as a technology company.
You know, I don't see any women on the board of this company. Does that bother you? Do you think this is a balanced board? Do they have the expertise to take the company? I mean, what's their backgrounds? Are you happy?
We think that without the woman in the board, it does not raise a concern for the investor. What is important is the corporate governance has been of FPT was led by the strong BOM and also the board of management and also the board of directors, reflect by the strong financial performance over the years.
Does anyone have marketing background, legal background? You operate in many countries around the world. Is this a good board enough?
We strongly believe that this board best fit FPT as a technology company. Most of them have been accompanied with the company for more than 10 years, and also they belong to relatively young generation. And FPT want to present itself as a technology company, not only in domestic market, but also international regions. So we believe that with a young generation board, FPT can stay close to global IT trends and better approach the customer all over the world.
Do you recommend your families or your relatives or your friends to buy this stock?
We think our valuation has reflected that answer because we issue buying FPT at 71,000 BND per share, equivalent to 22% upside, which is and also FPT is trading below other comparable rivals in the market. So we believe that this is an attractive but cheap price to get.
She's a troublemaker. One more question from my side. Why 60% DCF and why 40% multiples?
We include PE multiple at 40% to better reflect the value of FPT at IT and telecommunication company in the market. And for DCF, we believe that the company has stable cash flow from operations. So 60% DCF would better reflect the current status of the company. That's why we don't use 50-50, that we would better reflect it through DCF model.